Hi, we are going to present our integrative project. We are the team of the Wallander chocolate bar. My name is Ángel Benavente, and my partners are Itzel Felix, Jasmine Frias, Alejandra Moreno, and Priscila Santiago.
Okay, the first thing that we are going to talk about is our company. As you already know, we are working with Wallander, that is a lactose company. This one started in Durango in the 1945 like a small business, and now this is what we know like this Wallander. The kind of products that you could find there are food products, beverage, and traditional candies. Their vision is to have a company that could be positioned and recognized in the national food market, but still offering high quality and value products, but with traditional roots. Their mission is to maintain the expectation of the good taste, the distinction, prestige, and status of the Durango market. Also, they think that honesty, loyalty, discipline, respect, responsibility, and teamwork are key to still offering good products. They are located in the downtown of the Durango, in the Independence Street, and there you could find their website and social media. Also, their RFC is like a physical person.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the product to export, and it is a chocolate bar with nuts. The correct description of our product is a chocolate bar with chunks of Brazil nuts made from cocoa and whole cow's milk without filling. The tariff classification of this product is 1806.32.01.00, that it is los demás en bloques, tabletas o barras sin rellenar. Well, this product has 4 non-tariff regulation and restrictions, and the first one is NOM 051, the second one is NOM 186, and it needs to comply with 2 permissions. The first one is the Permiso C1, and the second one is Permiso S1. Well, the benefits that this product has is that it is 100% national production cocoa, a highly requested product. It is cheap to produce with good profits, competition with it artisanal chocolate, and it is not so harmful to health because it is artisanal. Well, now I'm going to talk about the machinery to import. Well, it is a mixing machine. The model is Chocomixer 500. The brand is Delani, and the year of production is 2019. It is from Peru. Well, the displacement, this machinery could do 42 turns per minute, and it has a pressure lubrication method because it is automatic. And the correct tariff classification is 8438.20.03.01, that is agitadores mezcladores, incluso con dispositivos de calentamiento o enfriamiento. This machinery doesn't have a lot of non-tariff regulation and restriction. It only have one that is for both for importation and exportation, and it is prohibido para la República Democrática de Corea. The benefits is that it is noticeable increase in production, advanced, fast, and efficient production, growth of the company, rapid positioning within the chocolate market, and production that allows satisfying a local market and a national, in this case, international market. Then we have the supply to import, and it will be Brazil nut. It is a dry fruit, and it is from Bolivia. The presentation of the nut is packaged per bag, and the type of conservation is by the environment as well as the storage considerations. The tariff classification of the nuts is 0801.22.01.00, that is nueces del Brasil sin cáscara. Talking about the non-tariff regulation and restriction, well, the nuts have two non-tariff regulation and restriction to the importation. The first one is the Certificado A1. It is a certificado fitosanitario, and it needs to comply with the NOM 051. This NOM talks about the commercial information, and well, as well as the machinery, it needs to comply with one non-tariff regulation and restriction for both, for the importation and for the exportation, that is prohibido para la República Democrática de Corea.
Okay, I talk about the marker. In this case, is a Republic of Peru or Peru. The main distribution channel that we'll find must be able to introduce our products into the chocolate market in Peru. The sale of the bar of sales service and stores and small business in the market. In this case, in the OXXO. Okay, the chocolate market is in general in Peru has been growing during the last 7 years, as can be seen in this graph. According to Euronic, sales of chocolate products of the year 2017 are 1,663 million soles, talking as a measures evaluate the sale price of the product sold the final consumer.
Now I'm going to continue with the export transport. We made an analysis of the three modes of transport, that is by land, by air, and by maritime. We reached to the conclusion that the by land is the appropriate transport to the merchandise that will be exported, and because it is cheap and accessible, and the transportation will be in a 2-axle standard truck. Now the cost of the transport is 295,608.73 pesos. Now I'm going to continue with the container loading and non-loading equipment estimated time. The merchandise will be accommodated in the American pallets. The American pallets measure is 120 centimeters, 100 centimeters, and 13.1 centimeters, and with a weight of 30 kilograms. Now the truck distribution, the merchandise will be divided into 2 pallets, which will be distributed like in this image.
The container that we choose was the refrigerated container of 20 feet, because refrigerated containers have a conservation system to maintain a controlled environment or temperature. And the main reason is because the chocolate is a food product, and this is to preserve the chocolate. It needs to be in a controlled environment and try to avoid any kind of change on it, like shape or texture.
Now talking about the prior recognition, well, this is the review of the goods prior to the crossing through the tax traffic light of the customs, and it is realized for the aduanal agent customs broker, customs agent, import or export representative. Its legal basis is on Article 42 of the Customs Law, and the objective is that at the time of presenting the merchandise of customs, the complete and correct digital documentation linked to say the merchandise is presented. The documents for the prior recognition are the document that protects the transport, the commercial invoice, packing list, certificate of origin, certificate of weight or volume, and the non-tariff regulation and restrictions, and technical letter. The procedure to carry out the customs previous recognition, it is to show the consignment note in the name of the customs agent, then present the commercial invoice, the packing list, and the letter of instructions for handling the products. Next point is submit a simple copy of the internal merchandise transit request. And finally, when the letter is containerized, it is essential to present the packing certificate, that is the container field.
Then we have the previous. The first one is the electronic data transmission. Here is express all the data related with the merchandise. For example, these documents could be the CFDI, COBE, entry summary request, and the certificates for the non-tariff regulations and restrictions. Then we have the customs entry request pre-validation and validation. Before we present the merchandise in the custom, we need to pre-validate it for the customs agent. This is to prove that all the data record there is true, and to prove that that is according with the established by the SAT. Now the causation determination and payment of the contribution and other taxes. This is according to each merchandise. The sampling for difficult identification products is not for all the merchandise, it's just in some cases. And at the end, the tariff consultation in this one is just in case that you have a question about the tariff assigned before.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the contributions. First, I'm going to talk about the exportation contributions. And as you can see in this table, we have our product that is the chocolate bar, and we are going to export 10,008 pieces of chocolate. The unit price is $1.35. We are going to use dollars in this operation. And then we have our commercial value, our dollars value, and our customs value. This custom value is in Mexican pesos. We are going to pay the DTA, that is a fixed quota, and that quota is of 353.33 Mexican pesos, and it is declared in the Article 49 of the Ley Federal de Derechos. Well, our product doesn't pay IGE, as well as compensatory quotas, and IVA. Our product doesn't pay IVA because it is food. Then we have our liquidation chart. In this, we have the pre-validation, the IVA PRV, the DTA, and the total of our liquidation chart is of 631 Mexican pesos. Then we have the contributions to the importation, and in this table, we include the nuts and the machinery. We are going to import 95 kilograms of nuts and only one piece of machinery. As well as in the last table, here we have the unit price. We are going to use dollars, and here we have our commercial value, our dollars value, and our customs value. In this case, we are going to declare increment tables, and we are going to pay insurance, freight, and packaging. We are going to pay the DTA for both merchandise, and it will be of 8 al millar, as well as in the last merchandise. We can find the legal basis in the Article 49 of the Ley Federal de Derechos. We are going to pay 20% of IJI only for the nuts. The machinery doesn't pay this tax. We doesn't pay compensatory quotas and IEPs, and we are going to pay IVA only for the machinery, that is 60%. As well as in the last table, here we have our liquidation chart in which we declare the prevalidation, IVA PRV, the DTA, the IJI, and the IVA, and the total of our liquidation chart is of 107,121 Mexican pesos.
Okay, now talking about physical inspection of the goods. First of the physical inspection, the merchandise has to go through gamma rays. It is used in customs in order to carry out the non-intrusive review of container cargo that transit to ports in the world. It makes the use of gamma ray scanner equipment that has a much higher detection capacity to be able to inspect vehicles, since they are enabled with sensors and are capable of scanning both the operator's cabin, the full container's load, and even the tires, just in case. According to what was declared in the entry request regarding the quantity of package and merchandise, the officials will compare the video taken at the customs with the petition. The container inspection system has three main elements. The first one is the access, where it is controlled through a manual lock from an operated room. The second point is a portal for a detection of materials through gamma ray system, and an arch, that is the last one, equipment with special cameras to read optical characters and readers that record all vehicle data. With this equipment installed in the import and export routes, the customs personnel will be able to carry out the inspections of the containers, speeding up and increasing the volume of their operations. And with this will be a significant reduction in the physical inspection of trucks. In case of noticing any type of irregularity, a physical review of the merchandise is carried out, which is reaffirmed by the customs verifiers. Then we have the DODA, that is the operation document for customs clearance. This is generated with the information of the validated and paid motions or the consolidated notice as appropriate, and serve to activate the automated selection mechanism in order to carry out the customs clearance of goods, integrating several motions within a single document, replacing the list of documents, printing the motion simplified form of motion, printing of the consolidated notice, printing of the electronic import and export notice. This motion is in the motion part 2 in accordance with the rule 3.1.33 of the General Rules of Foreign Trade. here we have the example of the DODA that is carried out by your merchandise.
Now I'm going to continue with the recognition, the general rules, the documentary review, the physical review, subject of samples, verifier, and incidents. In the next diagram, it is explained the process of the custom recognition. First of all, the transport is positioned on the reconnaissance platform. Next, the model operator receives the custom document. Next, the verifier assigned to practice custom recognition is validated. Then the documents are reviewed. Then the merchandise is physically inspected. Then if the custom authority see if it's any irregularity detected in the merchandise, and if it's a serious incident, the resolution of the serious incident of custom recognition is going to happen. And if it's a simple recognition, the incident of the custom recognition is going to happen. And if it's the authority isn't detect an irregularity in the merchandise, the customs document is certified. Next, the custom document is released and handed over to the customs agents. And in the final, it continues with its departure from the text area. And like we see in the diagram, we have a point in the document is review. The documents that are reviewed for the authority is the entry summary request, the invoice, the compliance with the regulaciones y restricciones no arancelarias, and the compliance with the normas oficiales mexicanas. In the entry summary request, the authority checks the identifiers and the documents matches with the entry summary request. In the invoice, the authority checked the importer and exporter data, the description of quantities, the incrementals, and the type of currency and the country of origin. In the compliance with the regulaciones y restricciones no arancelarias, the authority checked the tariff fraction, the documents that protect the regulaciones y restricciones no arancelarias, the quantity, and the corresponding description of the merchandise. And in the compliance with the normas oficiales mexicanas, the authority comply with the Annex 2.4.2, the certification standards, and a proof of conformity. And in the point of the physical inspection of the merchandise, the authority checked the description of the merchandise, the measurement units, the number of units, the nature of the merchandise, the tariff classification, and the compliance with the normas oficiales mexicanas. And now, if it is necessary, taking a sample of the merchandise, the process is that a triplicate of the merchandise will be taken. One copy will be sent for analysis, another will remain in custody, and the third will be delivered to the importer or exporter. And the next is a sampling report will be carried out. This process is mentioned in the Article 75 of Reglamento de la Ley Aduanera. Now the verification of merchandise transport. This consists in the physical and documentary review of the merchandise. The documents that the authority requests are invoice, packing list, and tax residence. And this is mentioned in the Article 144 of the Ley Aduanera.
Now we have the exportation process. It begins with the inspection and the review of the quality of the merchandise. Then the pack, label, and mark of the merchandise. Then we have to do the shipping order, fill and seal the containers. Then it has to be transferred of the goods to the loading point. And the merchandise arrival at customs border. Then in the customs clearance, we have to do the documentation and physical verification. it has to be done the delivery of documents to generate the consignment note. Next, the shipping of the consignment note has to be given to the buyer. And finally, the merchandise sale from the country of origin.
The home visit. The home visit is the purpose of the authority is to verify complaint with the tax and customs obligate or the part of taxpayer and jointly and several liable parties of three parties relate to them.
Now, the custom clearance, its legal basis is in Article 35. In general, this is the set of acts and formalities related with the entry of goods into the national territory and their exit from it. For example, the prepare and validation of the summary request, the payment of the contributions, assigning a third classification according to each brand, the and if while the recognition of the merchandise, the verifier could make use of X-ray gamma rays and Canning binomials. Also, if there is any irregularity, the authority could made a PAMA. And next. Now the PAMA, its legal basis is in Article 115 of the custom law. The PAMA will proceed when you introduce merchandise into national territory through unauthorized places. If there is no compliance with the norms, the omission of payments of contributions, of countervailing duties, and etc.
Okay, the deadlines, times, perhaps the roads in the least favorable if we talk about time since the products can be arrived late to its destination since the trip can take from 2 or 3 days depending of the traffic and the time needed of the verification of the document in customs and the routes. Okay, the selected transport we have to drive to federal highways, leaving the city of Durango, having to the custom office of Ciudad Hidalgo in Chiapas, after which the merchandise will continue on its way to Peru.
Okay, my conclusion of this integrative project is that it was of great help to us to better understand how a process dedicated to food products comes to work. It allows us to learn more about the documentation as well as what is related to the previous.
Okay, like a personal conclusion, this project helped me to learn and apply how the process of an importation and exportation is. Also, I think these types of operation are good to increase the recognition of our country in the world, and also to expand our market to the international one, and to prove that Mexico has the potential of making products of quality, and that's it.
My personal conclusion is that the imports and exports in Mexico have gained more strength and presence in the worldwide, thanks to the trade agreements and also thanks to the companies that want to expand to international markets. And also I really enjoy to do this import and export plan.
In my personal conclusion, we can say this process helped us turn the merchandise arrive currently, the cacao market growth, and helping the Durango company to have a great sale and growth in the market.
Well, this has been the integrative project that my college and I have carried out. And honestly, it was not so easy at all, since we put into context the entire import and export process that is required, and trying to put this into practice, everything we have learned through all these process as technicians. And in the same way, we hope that we can apply all these stuffs in the labor field.